Hello, welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. We're on the Young CGB free-to-play account, and it is crafting day. But before we do that, quests. So let's see what we got here. Play 40 lands. 40 lands, I can do that. And I think I can do that with my Dimir control deck. I know that you've seen this a bit this week, but I'm enjoying it to the point that I think I should stick to the things I'm enjoying. It's never probably going to be a tier 1 deck. I don't know if Dimir control will ever take off, if it's ever going to be right for the meta. It definitely has holes, it definitely has weaknesses, but when I'm playing it, it just doesn't feel like it. I get to do cool things like play Thief of Erasure into Thief of Sanity. Thief of Erasure. That's just a great, that's like a Benefer name, you know? Bradgelina. Thief Erasure. That's a lot of tap lands. Can't wait to get my hands on some rare watery graves and drowned catacombs. The Stalwart. Well, you know what I got for you, buddy? A little bit of dead weight. So if any of these were drowned catacombs, this hand would be so much smoother, but alas. Maybe we're gonna fix that today by end of day. Uh-oh, Tajik's here. Hi, Taj. Alrighty. How to play it. So I would have to take like 6 more damage before I even hit anybody with the Thief if I play the Thought Erasure here to try to protect the Thief. That's playing for the long game. It's also hoping the opponent doesn't have any other threats. I don't think I can do that. I think what'll happen there is I'll just get attritioned out, and I think it's way too optimistic from this spot. So I have to hope they don't have a removal spell, and if they do, I'm just that far behind in that bad of a spot. I have a Legionnaire. I wonder if they attack with that. They do. They do. Well, I'm not blocking. Well, I guess I could, but no, I think I've got to try to get more cards from my opponent and win a longer game. So Thief has to do its work. And there's more. But wait, there's more. Ooh, worst draw I could have had. Alright. Gonna need some removal out of you, opponent. Denied, but I guess a Challenger, but does Challenger trade with anything right now? Tajik can gain first strike, so not really. I guess we need to put something in front of that Banneret. It's gonna get bigger. Alright, then I guess I take you. And I play this land, and I play this Challenger. And we get our Thought Erasure on the opponent's hand. And we take their Tegrity. This gives out first strike though, and it can give it to the Banneret, which is a big deal, but yeah, I gotta take their Tegrity. And this card is too much Dirtle, not enough impact, so it's gotta go. And we're gonna take a big nasty punch, and then I'm gonna try to fight my way through this mess. I think the opponent's play is to Drill Master the Banneret. Let's see what they do. Yep. Ouch. The Mentor train went unmolested. I think we need a Ritual of Soot off the top now. Which, by the way, could have really changed this game. Alright, opponent's holding back the Tajik. I would have just attacked theirs since I'd be at 2 if I took it all. But, what can you do? Alright. Not sure what I'm hoping to pull. Some way to kill multiple things? None of the above. I'll take the Healer's Hawk. It can get up top and block. And then I have to use Blink of an Eye on, I don't know, something? Right. So before mentoring happens, I probably want to bounce something. I guess the other Sky Knight's the best thing. So what's going to happen here? If everybody attacks, the Mentor will probably go over here. I guess that... I mean, they both represent 4 damage, but this one spreads out, and it's a permanent buff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I gain 1 from the Hawk. And get 1 more draw at a Ritual of Soot, but then even if we draw it, unfortunately, we're dead to a Hasty Taj. Oh, does the pump work? Does that provide the necessary damage? Looks like it does. Alright, so we'll go over here, and that'll be the game. Completely steamrolled. Drew our Dirtle cards, not enough of our removal cards. Maybe next time. We only played 5 lands that game, so we were beaten on their turn 6 or their turn 5, depending who went first. And they went first. Yeah, we didn't get our 6th turn. Ouch. Silly Boros. Hey, it's good when the opponent can't block it. The problem in the format for Boros right now is when they can block it, which most of the green-black decks are really happy to throw fodder in front of the Boros creatures, and then they just seem to not have much left. Bring out your red. Gonna need removal spells. I've had a bit of a hard time getting them. Not sure why. Maybe we'll have to examine how many removal spells we're running, because I've been feeling like my deck's too slow. Too much Dirtle. At least so far today. But I guess that's easy when you're when you're up against red and Boros for a few games. It would also suggest the format just isn't right for dirtly cards like Disinformation Campaign, but then you're weaker against control, so what do you do? Okay, well, that'll set up a Doom Whisperer for next turn. We'll see how the red deck gets through that. Discarding a Mountain. Doesn't seem like that's going to hurt him too much. More Pyro. Vraska's Contempt. Well, let's start with the Doom Whisperer. It's a big 6/6 blocking mega body. Mr. Tickles has... I think we've just got to make that stick. Thank you, Adamant, MTG. Agent Warboss. Our opponent and their red shenanigans aren't done. Pretty all in right now, aren't they? Oh, that's a good draw. Now the Dream Eater is online. We'll go ahead and let them make the token and figure out their attacks and then ambush with Dream Eater. It's very likely to get lightning bolted, but we can bounce that token just fine. So the token they make doesn't really create anything. Yep, but eating a lightning strike isn't that bad. Not too bad. So let's see what we get. We need some stuff. I don't need the lands against the red deck. An Essence Scatter isn't too bad. A Discovery Dispersal is a little bit dirtily, but we do have a lot of mana to make it work. So I think I'll draw it. Now Dream Eater target. We'll target a token because it can't come back. Bounce our campaign. We'll block our Lava Runner wizard thing to reduce the wizard's light, or increase the cost of a wizard's lightning. And I'm gonna put a mark here so I can stop this before our war boss goes to combat. I plan to Vraska's Contempt it now, but I might as well let my opponent make some decisions before I make that play. So I'm in a spot where trading 1 for 1 seems pretty good. I think I should just make a play like this as soon as I can. I find every time I let those like 1-drops like Firebrand and Get to Lava Runner resolve, they end up dealing me a lot more damage in the long run than I'm really wanted to take. You want to come over, little goblin? No? Yep, and there you go. Last card was a land. Now we can start grinding away with the campaign. It doesn't make them discard anything, but it draws us cards. We'll use the Discovery. We'll Surveil 2. It'll get our campaign back to our hand. I love my Ritual Soot. It might be really handy if our opponent draws another War Boss off the top, so I'll take it. And then we'll hold up a Negate. And at this point, I think we can start closing the game. Our opponent can attack us for 1, we can attack them for 6. Our clock's much better, even though their deck is full of burn spells. And if you don't start ending the game against red, you will struggle. It will not be great. Alright, picking up a win. Hallelujah. Where are we at on our lands? 12. Little ways to go on our land quest. Then we're going to craft. Open packs and craft cards. Somebody said in a comment, show us the cards you craft. I show you absolutely every single card that I craft. I don't craft anything offline with this account. I don't play any games offline with this account. You have access to the whole experience. I don't play this in my spare time. I absolutely make sure I record and post everything that this account does. It's all public knowledge. You can play along with it, or just try to learn from it, or just enjoy it for entertainment, or laugh at it and snark at it and tell me what I did wrong. Whatever you like. Choose your own adventure. Uh-oh. There's a Carnage Tyrant type deck, with Lazav as well. So I think I need to sabotage them later and keep curving out for now, so while we could deadweight this creature to avoid taking 3 damage, I think it's better to take the damage and start building up our resources and cutting theirs back with Disinformation Campaign. Also, we need to draw land, something you may have heard me talk about in the past. I discard Necrotic Wound. And do they have another creature? We're fortunate they do not. Now with 4 mana available, I can deadweight this and hold up a Sinister Sabotage. We do have to keep in mind that Carnage Tyrant is likely to come out at some point. Our opponent's shown that they're the type of deck that plays with the Tyrant. We always need to have it in mind. I'm looking for any good target to sabotage here, but our opponent doesn't provide one. The Sabotage would bring back our campaign and help us keep making land, but it looks like we're going to have to wait. Their plan might just be to cast nothing but Carnage Tyrant. And yeah. So if that's their plan next turn, then we shouldn't hold up mana. We should play our Doom Whisperer, but our opponent might counter that. Tough choices. If we play the Doom Whisperer here and it gets exiled, that would be very bad, but our opponent doesn't look like that kind of deck. They might have a Chupacabra though, something that would be very good to counter. So this is one of those tough spots. It's weird to think my opponent would have counter magic, but they might. This seems like it has to be a creature deck. I think we have to push a proactive plan and see what works out. Assassin's Trophy. Okay. We could Surveil to get back our campaign, but if we... I don't think we actually want to... well, it depends. Let's see what's on top. It will decide whether or not we want our land. So I don't really need either of these, but I'm not going to bin them. I guess I could thin my deck by putting a land in the graveyard. It is the best land in my deck, though. Blink of an Eye could come in handy later, although I'm not sure why or in what scenario. I guess I can put these in the graveyard just to thin the deck. Maybe I'll draw the Search for Azcanta. But we're going to shuffle them away anyway, so I'm not going to draw them because Assassin's Trophy is going to get me a land, and that creates a shuffle effect. But now we have 6 mana, which means Dream Eater will be available soon. Our opponent uses the opportunity to play their own Doom Whisperer, which is definitely a thing. I think we'll use the opportunity to Vraska's Contempt the Doom Whisperer, as matching it with a Dream Eater doesn't seem too fun. Fire it off while they're tapped out, I suppose. I'm sure that they'll use Surveil to load something good on top of their deck. It looks like they kept a top card and exiled their Whisperer. But if they kept another Whisperer, I'm ready to counter it. If they kept a Carnage Tyrant, we have much more trouble, but Dispersal can hold it back. For a minute, anyway. Yep, there is the Tyrant. So now my objective is to empty my opponent's hand so that the Dispersal removes the Tyrant permanently. I don't know how that's going to work out in the long term, but I feel like we have to start the party. Ooh, Thought Erasure will help too. But if we can get our opponent down to 0 cards in hand, the Dispersal can permanently remove the Tyrant. Thief of Sanity, Hostage Taker. I'll take away... Well, we've got a Deadweight for the Thief of Sanity. What's that make our mana like next turn? Yeah, I sort of want them to play the Thief of Sanity. I want them to cast a card. Do I want my land drop next turn? It's a tapped land, but we do need them. Still, I think I'll bin that one since it won't have an effect for a little while. Here's the Thief. And they hold the last card. That's frustrating. But we can drive it away with the Disinformation Campaign. Deadweight taking out the Thief. And there is a 6-drop who can jump in front of the Carnage Tyrant. But we're going to go really low on life playing this one out. I think I'll hold up the Sabotage, although maybe if I play this out, the opponent will be more likely to play the card they draw. And then Dispersal takes out the Tyrant, but then whatever they draw might kill me. Yeah, I guess we can't do that. I guess we have to counter it if they draw something good. All right, key moment. Does the opponent play their last card? They do not. They're that good. And we are short that land. We never drew another one. So our options are to play a Doom Whisperer and hope that we can block the Carnage Tyrant, or to Dispersal it. It's way too bad we didn't draw that land, of course. I think at this point we're better off dispersaling it and playing, say, Search for Azcanta. Giving us more chances to draw into things. We can also flip it and have the extra land. I guess we'll give our opponent the chance here to play more cards out of their hand. But it looks like they're just going to go to their attack like they should. Here we go again. Can I play Doom Whisper and have Sabotage up? I can, and I don't need this land to do it, but I already kind of got in trouble for not taking a land earlier. Mana hungry deck. Gotta remember that every time you play with it. Okay, Doom Whisper, you're gonna have to jump in front of the Tyrant. Our opponent discarded a Chupacabra. They're going for Mnemonic Betrayal, which would let them cast cards out of my graveyard, including a Vraska's Contempt. Oh wait, they only have 3 mana. A blink of an eye, though, would do it. Would be lethal to me. So I have to counter this with the Sinister Sabotage. And keep looking for cards. Do I want more land? Yes, I suppose I do. I don't want to get myself in the trouble that I've been in for a while here, of not having enough lands to do all the things I need to do to keep up with these decks. Right now, I have all these spells. My opponent has none. I should be able to win if I get to cast all my spells. So I definitely want to search for his Kanta. I don't know if I want to do it right now or not, but my opponent's hand is empty. If I search for his Kanta right now and find another Discovery Dispersal, I think that that would be huge, because I get rid of the Carnage Tyrant for good. Instead, we see Ritual Soot, Thought Erasure, Vraska's Contempt, and Notion Rain. I think the only thing worth taking here is the Contempt. It might gain us some life if our opponent has something else. And then, am I playing my Dream Eater this turn? I think what I need to do is hold up Essence Scatter in case my opponent draws Ravenous Chupacabra. But if they draw some other removal spell, I'm in a ton of trouble. Dream Eater can't block the Tyrant enough anyway. But should I just try to close the game by attacking in the air and surveilling another 4 deep? I guess so. Yeah, I think I'm talking myself into Dream Eater instead. Because then also, if we draw a Discovery Dispersal and the opponent holds a card back, we can still beat them. Okay, that has to be countered. Kind of messes up my Dream Eater plan. The opponent keeps holding back the Tyrant because they don't want to trade with the Whisperer, but now they're scooping it up, and they don't want to watch me dirtle, I suppose. But I think that there was plenty to think about in that game, and I am trying to slow down a little more because I have been very unimpressed with my own play as of late. Too many misplays for my liking, so that's what I'm doing. You'll see that there's a few streamers featured up here. They get their own formats. I think that's really cool. I don't know what I do for a format, so I'm not going to bother figuring that out until I'm asked someday. I'm also not going to really play the other formats, but if you are interested in those kind of things, you are welcome to. It is a stretch goal on Patreon. I think it's in the $300 a month camp where I cover all formats, all the specialty formats, like Momir and Singleton. I like to focus on Constructed. I like to focus on this standard format. It's what I'll do until I'm at least paid to a point where I don't have to do my other job and I want to spend all my time and day on Magic, which, I mean, that is what I want to do, but I can't currently afford it. Someday, all the time on Magic, I'll make videos of absolutely every single format. All right, there's some red mana. Let's play this island. Let's Thought Erase and see what our opponent has cooking. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, I'm grateful for that. Thank you, opponent. That looked like it was going to be a very hard game. That looked like it was going to be a tough one. I think I would have taken the 2-drop creature, the Viashino Pyromancer, because then it would be hard to cast the Wizard's Lightning, and then my next Thought Erasure would take away probably the Goblin Chain Whirler just to keep their threats slow. If they got to 4 mana, they would play Rekindling Phoenix, but I had a Vraska's Contempt in hand. As long as I found another swamp, I'd be okay. So that's the way I think that game would go. Alrighty. Well, if we're against another red mage, this hand is too slow and should not be played. On the chance that I'm not, though, I'm going to keep it. It's difficult not having that information, having no tells or reads on the opponent. But sometimes you just got to decide from the opening get-go, what am I playing against? What can I beat? And it looks like our opponent is playing blue. They're playing blue, friends. Alrighty. We're already at a sort of a big decision point. If we run out this Search for Azcanta and it resolves, we're in a great position. If it's countered, we're in a bad position. But I like putting it to the opponent and forcing them to have it. They would need Syncopate or Negate, and I've had my Search for Azcanta syncopated or negated many times, but not this time. I keep all the lands when I'm in control matchups. Our opponent played a Field of Ruin, so that is something to keep in mind. We may never want to flip the Search for Azcanta because Field of Ruin may blow it up. We also want to be careful of when we play our Guildgate, giving our opponent a target to fix their mana. I'm going to play this island, and I'm going to lead with the campaign. Start attacking the opponent's hand. The fact that they didn't have a Syncopate or Negate for the Azcanta made me feel really good that this would resolve. And it looks like we're up against Jeskai Control. Our hand is well suited to Jeskai Control. What we need to find is a Vraska's Contempt in case Teferi is to come down. So we could hold up a counterspell, or we could try to Thought Erase the opponent. Again, I don't really want to fix their mana by giving them a non-basic. So the best way I can use my mana is to Thought Erasure and Discovery Dispersal. Or I could Notion Rain and just see what happens. It's a pretty tough call. I'm going to go for a Thought Erasure here. My other spells have resolved, so I think there's a good chance this one does. And look at this hand. Oh my. And once again, Thought Erasure brings out the concession, as the opponent no longer wants to play with me. Well, after getting smashed by the meta decks yesterday, we're just Thought Erasing people into dust today. It's kind of an interesting way to keep winning. But what can you do? You gotta take what you can get when you're free to play, my friends. Gotta take all those points where you can get them. This has Thief of Sanity with Negate and Stroke to protect it on the play, so I'm going to keep that and hope that our opponent isn't able to kill this the second it gets played. Drawing a Thought Erasure would be perfect. Absolutely perfect. Opponent going to tank on the opener. Maybe they want to get a beverage. I'll have one of my own. So what's going on Planet CGB? This is my 11th day without soda. This is water. Just water. I've mentioned before that I don't like the taste of water. One of my tricks is that I'll drink a Gatorade, then I'll fill the bottle with water, and it'll have a little bit of that Gatorade flavor left over. All right. We drew a swamp. We'll play that. Then we'll Thought Erase and look for anything that can stop our Thief of Sanity. Well, unfortunately for us, there's a few things that stop our Thief of Sanity. So we actually have to think about taking away cards that we can't kill. Deadweight can kill the Vanguard, so can Vraska's Contempt, but neither of those can kill a Knight of Grace. This is going to be a tough game. I almost think that I can't protect my Thief because of Deafening Clarion and Lightning Strike. Therefore, I'm not going to try to. And instead, I think... God, it's tough. Because Knight of Grace is hard to kill, but Adano Vanguard's the quicker clock. And I lack the cards to fight both of them right now. Ritual of Soot, for example, would kill the Knight of Grace. I think I'm going to take the thing that creates the faster clock in the Adanto Vanguard, and we'll see what happens from here. But this is going to be a very tough game. Our opponent on the Boros Angels mid-rangey type deck, but it can beat down very, very assertively. Don't make no mistake. Okay, I'm gonna play my Guildgate. I'm gonna say go. I'm not gonna play my Thief of Sanity, it would just die. I wanna play this at a time where the opponent might be tempted to let it live, such as when they might play a Shalai. If I can draw a way to deal with the Shalai, that would be even better, but I don't. So now it's not really a good play either, because of the Lightning Strike on end step. So maybe when I have enough counter magic going, and the Deafening Clarion would wipe out my opponent's Knight, that's when we'll play the Thief. But right here, I'm hoping to counter a Shalai or other large threat and buy time. Okay, the opponent says go. I think it's time to attack their hand. The Disinformation Campaign's a good draw. If we can get them to discard some of the cards like Clarion, maybe protecting Thief becomes a better possibility. Unfortunately, it does pump up their Knight of Grace, so we're now taking 3 damage instead of 2. And there goes the Clarion. But if we can counter their large threats, maybe we'll be okay. War Leader. We will Disdainful Stroke your War Leader. Well, all that's left for them to do this turn is attack with their Knight. I think they should. Seems like a pretty clear play to me, but who knows? Alright, drew a land, so we have Sinister Sabotage now to protect, prevent Shalai from resolving, and we have Negate to prevent Lightning Strike from resolving. So I think we've walked ourselves into a decent spot. Here comes the Aurelia. Let's not allow that. Ritual of Soot. It kills the Knight, but it takes out our Thief. God, that's tough. That's so tough. What we need is a way to answer the Shalai, because if the Shalai comes down, we're in huge trouble, and our Thief can't keep getting in. I'm going to count on the Thief of Sanity to steal away for me to kill or block this Knight, and I'm going to bin the Ritual of Soot. And the opponent doesn't attack with the Knight of Grace, even though it has First Strike and protection from black. So we lucked out. They made what can only be a mistake. And there's a Justice Strike and a Shock. If I take the Justice Strike, well, I know what I need to kill. What I need to kill is the Knight. I still need to find a way to deal with the Shalai. Justice Strike doesn't do it. So I'll take the Shock because it's cheap, efficient, and kills the Knight. Then I will play Disinformation Campaign. Which information campaign? Disinformation Campaign. And look at that, we drew a Thought Erasure. A very fortunate rip. Now we can take the Shalai and leave our opponent with the Lightning Strike, which we can negate because we still haven't played our land this turn. They discard a Lyra. Wow. Their hand must not be bad. And there's a Resplendent Angel. God, they have 2 ways to stop our creature. So we need to talk them into playing the Lightning Strike. So we definitely leave them with the Lightning Strike. And I think that the Resplendent Angel is not as much of a threat. Plus, I won't be able to make them discard cards anymore if I draw future Thought Erasures if the Shalai comes out. And there's a Discovery Dispersal. That's good. That can bounce their most expensive card and clear the way for the Thief of Sandy yet again. And we'll end the turn. The Shock is for the Knight of Grace, but hopefully our opponent goes for Lightning Strike on Thief here and we can negate it. And here it comes. Looks like we walked them into the Lightning Strike. Let's see if they drew another, as that would be very fortunate. However, they know about Disinformation Campaign. So they know that they're going to lose their Angel to the campaign, but they're going to concede. They don't want to see that happen. Our deck is inducing rage all over the multiverse. That might be 3 straight rage quits. All right, so if we get 750 gold, it's actually not going to change how many packs we can buy. So we can buy our packs now. We don't have to wait till the end of the show and use our new cards. So let's go. We have 3 packs from our rewards. If you've been following the show, you know we have 30 packs that were probably given to me for creating content by Wizards of the Coast, though they never told me that, and we're not going to use them. So what packs are we going to buy? I'm going to keep buying Guilds of Ravnica. I could buy Ixalan because of my Golgari leanings. I want some Seekers, Squires, and Merfolk Branchwalkers, and they do have dual lands. They do have some dual lands that are very good, but they're also the first set to rotate out. So I think I'll just stick to crafting the cards I want from Ixalan. And 6. There we go. And now we'll open 9, not 10 packs. Let's see what we get. A rare wild card, some other wild cards, and a Niv Mizzet. Maybe our Izzet deck has hope for it after all. Mythic wildcard counter is on the board. Once it fills up, we get a mythic wildcard. And there is another Firemind's Research. We showed that card probably not the greatest a little earlier this week. But who knows? Maybe we're just missing the right mix for it. There's a Sacred Foundry. So we got a rare land if we ever wish to play the Boros Legion. Spybug, Pelt Collector, good if we ever go the green route. And there's a few more wild cards and a Vivid Revival. Return up to 3 multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand. Not a card I've seen anybody try to use yet. Alright, here is Assassin's Trophy. Alright, well there's something for our Golgari deck to kill a few things. Wipe out a few targets. Our mythic rare counter filled, so we got our mythic rare wild card. Nightveil Predator, Truefire Captain, Camaraderie, very fun in the green-white token deck. I've got to say, it's a card I really enjoy. Book Devourer, flavorful but ridiculous. And that's just a sad pack. Not great. And over here, Justice Strike, if we go the Boros route, and a Temple Garden. So a few rare lands. Building up your rare lands is a good idea. We have 5 commons, 3 uncommons, 1 rare, and 1 mythic rare on our wild cards. That's about the worst we've done, I would say, on a week, for a week's worth of grind. I don't think I've ever remembered only having 1 rare wild card at the end of the week. But if we're going to use a rare wild card, I think it's about time we picked up a few more lands for our deck. It's got to begin. It's got to begin somewhere. There's just too much tap land going on. It's costing us. So we got to start. You got to start somewhere, my friends. So we have 5 commons, 3 uncommons, and a mythic. I don't really feel like I need to craft any other spells for the deck. I like what it's doing. I might cut like Notion Rain. Maybe we get Moment of Craving into the deck to fight against some of these. But I don't think it's worth crafting Moment of Craving when we have other options available, like Fungal Infection. We could just play that instead. And what can I move for it? I think I can move this Blink of an Eye. It hasn't impressed me yet. And I also want to move the Notion Rain because I think the format's too fast, and I think we have too many cards in our deck that aren't very good against red. So I'll take those out for now. And instead we'll run some Deadweight and Fungal Infection to kill more things quickly and early. Next up, we've got a mythic rare, 5 commons, and 3 uncommons, and I want to work on Golgari. So if I look at Golgari, the main thing missing right now are the Explorer creatures, although we can play it a little bit differently. We can go with a mana ramp strategy instead of the all-in value-y strategy. So get Druid of the Cowl in there. The feeling of missing with Elvish Rejuvenator, I never want to feel that again. Never again. Let's get our District Guide into the deck. And we had an Assassin's Trophy. Let's look at all the black-green cards, make sure that we're not crafting something we don't need. Cast Down's pretty good for the deck. Maybe the Bloodfast is where we want to be for now until we have better cards. The Midnight Reaper's in there? Yep. Of course it is. Card's great. Great. It's a great card. Alrighty. Like, all that's fine. Maybe it is a good time for a Belzenlok while we're ramping and don't have a bunch of other cards to play with. Maybe it is. Worth a try anyhow. Looking. And then we're looking at our green-black cards. We've got the Trophy. We got an extra Glowspore Shaman, though I don't know if I'll need that. I don't know how much we're even doing with the graveyard at the moment. Probably not too much, to be real with ya. And what lands did we get? We got green-white. We got 2 Temple Gardens now. That's nice. So our green-white mana base is starting to line up. We'll have to check that deck out a little bit. But what do we not need? I like this to fight Carnage Tyrant. I didn't like Mausoleum Secrets. I don't like Necrotic Wound, but as a one-of, it's not too bad. Now that we have a trophy, I think we can remove it. Chupa's, Rituals, Path of Discovery was pretty weak. We don't have a lot of the Explorer synergy going on at all, but maybe we're about to change that. I think that they're all uncommon though, so it does make me nervous to use my uncommons that way. And then our top end is a bunch of decent cards. So let's see. What are some powerful uncommon cards and common cards that we can put into the deck? I think that District Guide is uncommon, right? Yeah. I think the best way to do will be to look at filters. So what am I missing? It's easy to forget. For some reason, it's absolutely easy to forget, so you gotta look back. So Moment of Craving is common. I said I didn't really want to craft it, but it's so good against the red decks, but still, like Cast Down and Fungal Infection, things like that can do just as good a job. Secret Squire is uncommon, unfortunately. So is Merfolk Branchwalker. So I think that where we need to start is with the Merfolk Branchwalker. I like having extra power more than extra toughness most of the time. Being able to attack the opponent for some extra points. And I don't think we'll regret crafting Merfolk Branchwalkers in our uncommon spot. Any deck that's playing green can play them if they need to be filled in. And then over on the common side, it's always hard to find playable commons like in the full-on constructed format, but I think for right now we could use Dusk Legion Zealot and it could hold a similar spot to what Secret Squire would do, but no, this is a more rampy deck. I don't think that that's actually a good use of it. So maybe commons aren't what we need for this deck. Let's go to the filters again and look just at the commons. There are some common Explorer creatures we could craft, but since I don't plan to use those in the long term, I don't like putting the common band-aid on it. I'd prefer to look for cards that I can use a lot more. Though I don't know what those might be. I think over in red, like if we make a red aggro deck, they probably have the commons we want, like Fanatical Firebrand, right? That's pretty good. What else is over here? Goblin Trailblazer. Maybe Fanatical Firebrand is just the best common. I'm going to go ahead and leave it alone for now and think about that a little bit more rather than wrecking time here on the channel. Oops. I meant to, but we do want to craft out these branchies. Very much so. And I don't think that this is a graveyard deck anymore, so I'm going to cut the Shaman. Also, we have to decide what to do with a mythic rare. I think I want a Vraska. So many great mythic rares in the game. Either Vivian Reed or Vraska stand out to me as the kind of card I just want to craft as soon as possible and have fun with. I'm going to look around just to make sure I'm not absolutely crazy. Another interesting craft for the technology of it is the Immortal Sun, because it turns off your opponent's planeswalkers, and you don't have many planeswalkers yourself if you're free to play. So that is kind of an interesting little swerve strategy that you can use. And I'm really tempted to do it now that I've talked about it. Another interesting one is Karn, because Karn can go into any deck, which is an interesting way to approach it. So as far as utility, I don't think Karn is the best for any deck right now, but it can go into any deck and fill space and be mythic and help you out. So it's a tough decision. I do think that it is up to you personally what you want to do from this spot. But for me, I'm going to try the Immortal Sun tactic because I think it also will work great in green-white tokens. And I'm not going to have a ton of planeswalkers for a long time on the free-to-play account. So I'm humored to see how this works, especially with the ramp strategy of the deck. I don't have any more of these, do I? I was hoping. And I didn't get any overgrown tombs, I don't think. I always check just in case I opened one along the way. Nope. All right, so 4 cards to cut. I think the Burglar Rat is on the chopping block. And the Ritual Soot is definitely out now that we are running cards like Druid of the Cowl to make mana as well. It probably should have been out before. We're going to have a hard time competing in the mirror match with this deck because of Find Finality, but maybe the Immortal Sun is just swervy enough that it can get him. And we also have a little bit of a bigger end game, which is pretty important. Findbroker can get back the Immortal Sun a lot if we do draw it. So I think the last card I'm going to cut is the Poisoner. I do have Plaguecrafter, which can also take on cards like Vine Mare. So yeah, could have also cut the Necrotic Wound, but I like having the Exile effect, even though I have some Vraska's Contempts. What's our creature count? It's pretty high, right? 29? Yeah, I think a Necrotic Wound can be valuable. Anyway, we need a new face to run this place. Carnage Tyrant, do the honors. So to complete our quest, let's try our Golgari deck with its new toys. Perhaps the strategic swerve of crafting the Immortal Sun will pay off a lot. I'm not sure, but I'm excited to try it. At least it's something to try. So this is scary, because I have a turn 2 ramp creature and an explorer creature. I don't have 2 black mana, which means most of this hand is dead, which means we have to find 2 black mana to turn it on. We have a lot of sources. And we have District Guide, but I think it's wise to mulligan this hand. Oof. Well, now we're looking for a land off the top. We got it. Now we need to draw land for the rest of the game. Which it's probably asking too much. Our hand is really slow and on the draw now. I don't think we're in a good spot. Our opponent's opening on Dawn of Hope, though, which, while being a very value-centered enchantment, is a bit slow. So maybe we have a chance. There's a Vanguard. That's not too quick of a draw from our opponent either. And now we have a Chupacabra online. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're hanging in there. Our opponents decided to kill our Druid, and they used Tribunal And they play another Vanguard. Okay, well, we still need another land now. That Tribunal was absolutely nasty. And this isn't helping my quest. I have a quest to play lands. You're not helping. Oh my. Well, that's very mean. Well, I'm gonna go try to get a game where I draw lands. A little bit of a tilt there on this one, but I'm already at 15 minutes. I try not to go out over an hour on these videos. I know I'm asking a lot of you already, but I do want to get this quest done and play a game that isn't decided by Mulligan and Mana Screw. Okay. More rough hands. What's going on? This one's a little different because if I draw any green source, I do get my district guide and I have double black. But the problem is we're on the draw. It's way too slow. Okay. I suppose it does help me hit all my lands. If any of these were an overgrown tomb, this Llanowar Elf would be on turn 1. The whole game would be different. But that's the way it goes. Even the tricked out Golgari deck has trouble getting Llanowar Elf on turn 1 sometimes. Hold on. Never mind. And there's not a lot of new information, Zach. Making your second play should come pretty easy. I guess I might have drawn something that changes the dynamic somehow. We'll wait and see. Perhaps they're also explaining every possible line in a video. So we have to decide between Druid of the Cowl and Llanowar Elf. I like getting my tap lands out of the way so I have more options later in the game. So I think that's a fine line. And our opponent probably has an Assassin's Trophy, but you don't want to use that on a Llanowar Elf. Not very good against that card, as it's all about mana. Our opponent has a Memorial to Folly. This can get back a creature from the graveyard later in the game. And a Jadelight Ranger, showing an Assassin's Trophy. So they'll have a 4/3 Jadelight Ranger, and they bin the Assassin's Trophy after keeping it once, showing that they value the size of the Ranger. Interesting. So I'll try to have a Branchwalker to pair up against the Ranger, so we have a blocker. And it looks like that is what I will have. We'll put that on the library, as it can also pair up against the Ranger if this one dies. I'll play another Druid of the Cowl. Or another mana creature, but a Druid of the Cowl. And it looks like this is gonna be the mirror. We're very disadvantaged in the mirror. Our opponents in general are gonna have much more and much stronger creatures than we have. Or planeswalkers in particular that make a big difference. I think I can sacrifice my elf. I've got enough mana sources, and I want to put something in the way here. Okay, our opponent is attacking with the Ranger. I'm going to take that block. They probably have Find to get these back, but I see that they're having a little bit of mana trouble, I believe. Because we were on the draw, so they missed this land drop. Interesting. Interesting. I think we could play Findbroker, getting back Branchwalker, but I'd rather play the Branchwalker and see if we can dig our way to a powerful top-end card. That's another Branchwalker, but I'll keep it. They do keep the train going, And let's attack with our Druid of the Cowl, because the Llanowar Elf can't trade with it. If I have to find Broker to get back a Branchwalker to keep digging, I will. But first I want to see if I can find a better card to find Broker back. Demon of Catastrophes. So our opponent's going up for a 6/6 flying trample. Ooh. This would be a good time to find our Kraul Harpooner. And we hit a land. Okay. I'll get back my Branchwalker, so we can keep digging for something to deal with this demon. And we'll pass the turn. Demon of Catastrophe is not one I see too often. It's a little bit of a fresh take, I'd say. And we have more threats than our opponents, so they may have trouble attacking us if they can't put something in the way of these bodies. No, they didn't sacrifice this Llanowar Elf to be on defense with their demon. They're coming after us. Interesting. All right, well, I am going to send my troops, because I can deal more damage than that demon. An Assassin's Trophy may shut that down. Not yet. Opponent's being stingy with it. I find that pretty odd. Maybe there is something along the lines of a Ritual of Soot coming up, which would be pretty backbreaking. But we'll keep that demon on top of the deck. In case of Ritual of Soot, though, I will hold back a Druid of the Cowl. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if the opponent has a removal spell and they block this, the next turn they take 6. If they have a removal spell and they block with the demon. So playing the Druid doesn't stop that. Now, if they only have the demon and they don't have the removal spell, they're dead. So the Druid doesn't change the clock is what I'm looking at there. And if it doesn't change the clock, we're going to hold on to it. If our opponent Assassin's Trophies us, we're also not going to fetch the land, because I want to draw the Doom Whisperer very badly. I want my own Flample. That is a combination of flying and trample, in case you did not know. Flample. No attacks. More small creatures. No lands in the graveyard to get with the Glowspore Shaman. Doom Whisperer off the top. Do we charge with our creatures? Our opponent can block 2 of them and go to 3. They also still have an Assassin's Trophy available to them, which I'm 90% sure they have based on the way I've seen this game play out. It may be better to save our creatures and find a removal spell for the Demon of Catastrophes with the Doom Whisperer. So let's play it out. And now I'm confident my opponent isn't on Ritual of Soot, because the Glowspore Shaman. So we'll play out the last card, the Druid of the Cowl, because it could matter. I'm confident they have the trophy for 2 reasons. 1, their timer keeps running when they have 2 mana open. 2, with their Jadelight Ranger, they binned it. I think that although that seems like they really wanted land, it's not that weird of a play, but those are the 2 tips I see. But if they have it, it's now or never, and if they don't play 1 on the Doom Whisperer, I'm probably never going to respect it for the rest of the game. There it is. Alright, I'm going to dig a little Now we can't go below 6 or we'll die to the demon, but I'm gonna dig a little for some removal spell, and we found one. And I'm not going to shuffle. I'm not going to take the land because it would put away this card. So I'm going to decline and keep my card on top. That way I can kill the demon, swing with everybody, possibly win the game. Depends on what my opponent's play is right here. Wow. I think they just drew that land off the top to cast this Doom Whisperer. That's really something. So I don't think I attack next turn. Unless my opponent attacks with the demon here, which might be what they're thinking about. I think I try to bait them into attacking me with both demons to win the game next turn. If I were in their shoes, I would sit back like they're doing, and I would wait till next turn, and I would attack. Now they should expect some kind of a removal spell here. They absolutely should. But maybe we can get them to try to attack me for lethal. We play the removal spell, then turn around and attack them for lethal. Of course, if they have a 1,000 eyes, that's not going to work out very well for us. All right, here we go. Let's take out the Whisperer. But if they do have 1,000 eyes, that's very, very bad. They have plenty of creatures in the graveyard, and we're not going to get through that. We're a bit underpowered in the mirror, so I won't be surprised if we lose. Well, our opponent's going to have a think about it. Regardless, we got our land quest, and this has been a pretty fun episode, and they don't surveil at all. Makes me think they have something to pay off the 6 mana. And we're still waiting. We're still in their combat step. Down to 5. And they passed the turn? Well, there's no other play for me. I'm just dead otherwise. We have to attack with everybody and hope it works out. And they definitely have another instant speed ability, but it might be this Memorial to Folly holding priority. But these are spells. Our opponent missed land drops earlier, so we know that they have spells. It's just about whether or not those spells will save them. Whether or not they're the right spells. It feels like they have to be. Like Vraska's Contempt, another trophy. Yeah, there you go. They have certainly taken their time about casting it, though. Immortal Sun, that would have been the perfect draw, and it was 1 away. I mean, this is pretty clearly a block and then win the game, right? It has to be. Okay. I'm going to leave because they're taking forever, but good game. It was a good one. We were probably a draw away there, but that's the way it goes. Land quest though complete, right? Right. Yay. All right. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you to my patrons on Patreon for making the free-to-play series a regular event here on the channel. And if you enjoy it, remember to like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.